Hey, decided to do a little video um, of the Somewhere Skies Are Blue. This month is called Crazy Ann, so it's going to look like that. And so it's a little strange because these are half rectangle triangles. These little guys here are called half rectangle triangles. So they're a little strange. So I figured I would do that for you to show you what to do. So the instructions tell you to cut um, see instructions, see instructions. So that's for this piece and this one here. And so when we get down there, I want you to cut the two pieces of fabric in half. It's about 5 by 6 3/4. Layer them both together face up, and that's really important for what we're doing. If we were doing a star where the points were going to be like kind of like that, then you would want to face them together. So sometimes you'll see it's really important to put them face together before you cut, and sometimes it's really important to have them all face up. This time it's all face up because we're going in the same direction with the stars. Okay, so they're all face up. Then we're going to cut that stack into 4.5 by 6.5. All right, and then we're going to cut that stack in half, so they'll all be layered like this. We're going to cut that stack diagonally in this direction. Don't cut it in the other direction, or your star will be going in the other direction. If you want to do that, I'm okay with that too. But if to go this way, you definitely want it cut like that. Okay, then you're going to take two of these pieces, and you're going to, if you put them together like that, obviously that's not going to work out. And obviously that's, so it's really kind of strange. They don't line up exactly right to get this to work. But I always kind of do that and then go, yep, that looks right, just to make sure. And in this case, I gave you extra fabric, so it doesn't really matter exactly where these line up. Sorry about that. So I had cut these 6 instead of 6.5, so I didn't have a whole lot of room left over. So I will have to be a little more careful. I'm going to overlap it a little bit up in here because I messed up the previous step. Not surprisingly, I do that. All right, so did that seam. Let's see if that'll give me the right size this time. All right, let's see what we got now. Yeah, now that'll work. Okay, so what you have to do, the reason we can't just square this up is because this angle, if we just squared it up, we would have a quarter inch on both sides, but it wouldn't make the right seam allowance. So this is a 1/4 of an inch, and this is a 1/4 of an inch. So it's kind of weird, but you got to line that notch up and this notch up with the seam allowance. Can you see that okay? All right. And because I only cut these at 6, I don't have that extra 1/2 inch down there to play around with. But you could draw this if it's easier to draw and then cut. I'm just going to cut. And then I love this mat. If you've got one of these guys, it's worth its weight in gold. You can just leave everything the way it is and turn the mat. I use this every single time I make a block. I use this rotating mat. This is an Olfa mat. We do sell these. It's totally worth it. I'm probably going to take this one home because my old one is kind of dying. I have used it so much. You don't want to cut that notch out, and I did tell you that in the instructions. You want to kind of go straight. Don't really cut the notch out. The notch was just a visual guide for us to be able to do this. Boop, boop. All right, one more cut here, and you'll see it. There we go. Did I get that? Got one little piece to cut off there. All right, so I know it doesn't look like much, but if you look kind of closely, you can tell this seam allowance over here is a little smaller up in the corner, and this one is a little bigger. But whenever you do your 1/4 inch seams, it's going to be right. That's why we had to do the template. So it's kind of weird, but all right. So now I have already pre-made some of these guys. I'm going to show you the next little part here. This will be pretty easy for most of you guys. Most of you guys kind of know how this goes. We're making these corners right here. I'm just going to sew those. I have my foot control on this Bernina set so that it does the cutting for me. In case you're wondering how that's magically doing that, I'm using my foot. So if I sew like that, that's going to be wrong. So be sure that you kind of audition where all this is going. I always sew from the corner to the edge like that. I feel like it's a little easier to get it straight. Let's see, there we go. All right. And then we're going to press that open. You should have about 1/4 of an inch. That's a little scant, but it'll work. You should have about 1/4 of an inch seam allowance there when you get done with that. The original directions were wrong, but we have handwritten, or will have handwritten by the time you get them, the correct instructions. Anyway, then we take one of these guys, number 3, and it's going to go here. If I sew from here, then I can't see my seam allowance, so I always sew so that I can see the seam allowance right here and get that perfect. I'm going to start on the edge. And when I get down here, I'm going to sew right inside of that where they cross, where the 2 lines cross. You can see that. I'm going to sew right inside of that edge, like maybe 2 threads width is where I'm aiming for. And then whenever I press it open, it should look pretty perfect. See? Right there. And so, do the next one and then I'll lay it out so you can see it. All right, here we go. Same thing. I'm going to kind of aim. If I had my knee lifter on, I forgot to put my knee lifter, I would have lifted that. All right, and this is the one that's a little scant, so I'm kind of making it a little scant over here. It'll be all right. And I'm trying to go right inside of that seam. And that should make my little perfect point there. So it's a little kind of off, but when I press it, it's going to be fine. Okay, and then laying it out. This is going to be here, here. Get rid of that. And I don't know why this is called Crazy Ann. Sometimes these old patterns had a little story with them. This one did not have any kind of a story, so I don't know who it's named after or anything like that. So it'll be laid out like that and that. Whoops. That. And then my center block. And that is Crazy Ann all done. Oh, I gotta cut these down, but you got the idea.